So people say, do what you love, and some other people say, love what you do. And of course, I got this statement from Dan Locke because he recently shared a video on his YouTube where he says that we should actually love whatever shit that we do. But how can we apply this statement into cars? Now, some people always say you buy a car that you love. To me, I did say that you should love the car that you buy, because now, for example, let's talk about this Proton Iriz, alright? Now, to be honest, before getting this car, when I was 14, I loved the Iriz. When I was 15, I also loved the Iriz. But when I'm 16 this year, I actually love other sorts of cars, like you can say the Perdana V6 Alpha Grille, the Persona Elegance, the one with multi-link suspension. I also like the Waja CPS because that one has manual, that one also has multi-link suspension. And also you can say I like the Corolla AE101 modified with the silver top 4AGE or even the black top 4AGE engine. Now those are the cars that I love, but the thing is that my mom here, she wants something which is new. And at the time in my mind it's like, if you want something which is new below 50,000 ringgit, all you can get is the Axia, the Saga, the Bezza, the Iriz and the Persona. Now all these cars, they lose out on one thing. All these cars, they do not have multi-link suspension, because why I keep stressing on multi-link suspension is because that if your left tire kena a bump, okay, it will affect the movement of the whole car. But if you get a car which has multi-link suspension, well, if your left tire kena a stone, kena a pothole or something, it does not affect the right side of the car. So basically, if you ride in a caution beam car, you would constantly feel a lot of discomfort throughout the journeys. But a multi-link suspension gives you sometimes better handling. It also gives you more comfort, for instance. Now, all these are the characteristics of my favorite cheap cars. But so after I get the Iriz, right, I started to love the things that it is able to give me, such as this car has ESC, for instance. Like, if you talk about the Perdana V6, in Malaysia, it does not even have airbags. So I don't know how you're going to survive on the road like that. Waja CPS Persona, they also don't have ESC. They have ABS and, you know, 2 airbags. For the Corolla AE101, I mean, that one you don't need to say anything lah, because that car confirmed don't have ESC one, because it's already so old. Here's one thing that makes me love the car that we buy. And then other things like the semi-bucket seats here. All the 4 cars that I mentioned earlier, all of them don't have semi-bucket seats. I mean, for the Perdana V6, the seats are very low. The Persona has okay seats. The Persona seats are quite comfortable lah. Waja seats are okay. AE101 seats are okay as well. So apart from all these things, there are other stuff that actually make me love the Iriz. Like, I actually get 2 power outlets in this car. For the higher grades of the Iriz, like you name it, the executive model, the premium spec model, they all have 4 power outlets. And you know those older cars that I mentioned just now, the Persona is something newer, so you can get 2 power outlets, 1 USB and 1 power socket. And then for the Perdana V6, something that debuted in 1992 in Japan as the Eternal Visage. Here you call it the Perdana V6, of course. Now that car came out until 2010. That car only had 1 power socket, and it actually makes things very limited, because all you can say is that you can only charge 1 phone, and your wife, your kids, they cannot charge any of the other shit. And then for AE101, I don't need to say further, because that car is even more antique in technological terms. If you want me to exaggerate more about the things that I can find in the Iriz, now my meter, there is a very advanced multi-info display system, something that the other 4 old junks, they have nothing of that. And then what else can I find? For this car, there's also HPF. I mean, when anything crashes into this Iriz, right, I mean, I can say that I am protected 60%, or my protection can be around 70% as well, because the HPF metal is really advanced. It just makes you feel safe all the while. And then for the steering side of things, now all the four cars that I mentioned just now, all of them use hydraulic power steering, which is quite heavy for today's terms. Now this thing uses EPS. Proton started to realize that consumers want something which is easy to drive, easy to maneuver around town. Hence they give it EPS, making it a very light steering for everyday usage. And before experiencing this Iriz ride, there are some things that came to my mind, such as this car is small, this car is underpowered, this car is expensive for the things that it offers lah. But the thing is that after coming across this car for around 6 months, I started to realize that this car is what you need for an everyday basis. If you get a Perdana V6, right, of course I would say that it is a very good weekend car. Yes, it has leather seats, beige color interior, it has a V6 engine that is from Mitsubishi. You get a very sporty, a very luxurious outlook as well. But however, if you want to talk about the maintenance side of things, well, fuel consumption will fuck you up. Maintenance could fuck you up as well, but it has the factory fitted oil cooler for the transmission, so I think that the transmission side of things is much better than the older iterations of the Perdana. Say for example the 1998 V6, the 2003 first generation Perdana V6 Alpha. So if you want something good, I would say the Enhanced 3 is the best. This is a new car, and there are also other new cars around this price range, such as the new myvi, such as the Kia Picanto. So now this is the thing, right? Normally when you drive on the road, you touch a speed of maybe say 80 km per hour, 100 km per hour, 120 km per hour if you want to exceed the speed limit of Malaysia. Now when the car travels at around the speed of 90 km or 80 km, which is what we are traveling right now, we are traveling at around 100 km now, you would realize that this car, even though it's a B segment, it actually feels quite comfortable. And if you compare it with some older cars like the Perdana V6, the Corolla A101, now those cars, they might be making tons of noises by now. Let's not talk about the wind noise or tire noise only. Now, if you consider the engine noise, now normal A101s, they come with the 4A FE engine, and you know when you're traveling at a speed of around 100 or 120, right, those engines, those 4-cylinder engines, they are not going to sound anything quiet. For instance, I mean, it would be, yes, I know it's not as loud as some 3-cylinders, not going to mention the name of those 3-cylinder cars, but the thing is that you can't feel a sense of serenity when you ride in those type of older cars. But in this one, when this car travels at 80 km per hour, you can actually feel that this car feels like an AirAsia economy plane. When you travel in an Iriz at 80 km per hour, the engine is actually quite muted. I'm not joking here. And the wind noise, the tire noise, all of them are kept to quite a low. I know that a lot of you have been hearing lots of news about the myvi 2017. Some of you guys even heard some news about my very own Proton Iriz 2017 refinement, and you guys might be comparing a few things such as fuel consumption, reliability, space for instance, practicality, and even performance. You have to understand, like, some people, they love the way the myvi looks. Some people, they love how fuel efficient the myvi is. Try out some other Proton cars like the Saga VVT, the Persona VVT, the Iriz VVT. When you keep yourself in this environment, you would begin to realize that, you know what, I didn't love the Iriz at first because probably it doesn't look good enough to me. It doesn't appeal to me visually, but when you sit in it, you would realize that, you might change your mind a bit. So what I'm trying to say here is that you really have to love what you get. It is not getting what you love, because yes, you love the way the myvi looks, but the thing is that you just can't feel something great in the myvi later on. But when you get the Iriz, you can see that now my car is around a speed of 150, but I don't actually feel that the car is shaking or whatsoever, because this is how great Lotus engineered their cars. Elise, Evora, even our local Protons like the Exora, Surima, Myvi, or you know whatever modern cars that they have. This is how well they are engineered. So what I'm saying is that you would love the Iriz after getting it. And thank you guys for watching my video, and I hope you subscribe to my channel, like my videos, and bye for now.